Namaste everyone. Ram Ram Ram. Let us start with the Mangala Shlokas. Gururev hatir gurumev bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave nahuro paramam shishurasmi guroho matirasti guro mama pahi guru ब्रवीमि संस्कृतं वाचा ध्यायामि संस्कृतं हृदा कुर्वे सेवां च कायेन वन्दे संस्कृतमातरम् यो नरः संस्कृतव्योमी ह्यालयं रमते मुदा संस्कृतिं चैव संस्कारं विन्दते नात्र संशयः. Welcome you all to the course Stories and Insights from Shrimad Bhagavatam by our teacher Dr. Balaji Srinivasan Mahodaya. Starting from today, on every Thursday to Sunday, we will have the classes at 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. IST. Here is a short introduction about our teacher. Dr. Balaji Srinivasan Mahodaya is a former Deputy Provost and EVP for Science, Innovation and Strategy, driving global academic integration and partnership. He is a co-founder of Climate Vault Solutions, a $100 million startup focused on carbon markets and decarbonizing technologies. He is a former managing director at Zip Capital Management and Executive Director at Goldman Sachs, specializing in derivatives and multi-asset management. He is currently serving as Executive Working Committee member of Vyoma Linguistic Labs Foundation. He is a Sanskrit and Vedantic scholar, authoring works that bridges traditional wisdom with modern English interpretations. He is a Shishya of Ishwarananda Giriji, Shankara Vedanta student and Upashaka. Welcome, Balaji Mahodaya.
Thank you.
So, how to join the class? We have three modes of joining the class. One is from browser, second is from emailing, and third is from mobile app. Let me share you from browser how to join the class. So once you have logged into Sanskrit from home.org, you can click on login and enter your credentials and click on My Learning. It will redirect you to the dashboard. So once you have logged in, under today's classes, your enrolled courses will show their stories and insight from Shrimad Bhagavatam. You can click on Join Now button and join the class. Only once the teacher has started the class, the Join Now button will be enabled. Until that, you have to refresh or relog in the page. Second is from email link. You will receive email reminders 24 hours before the class, 1 hour before the class, and also when the session starts. Click on the link in the email and log in your credentials and click OK to launch the session. And third is from mobile app, which is very easy to join. Once you have logged in into the mobile app, in the home page, you can see the Join Now button. You can just click on the button and join the class. Please do download our SFH app so that you can easily take classes from anywhere, anytime, access contents and learn from anywhere, track your progress, take exams, get in-web announcement. Also, you can explore and enroll other courses. It is available in both Android and iOS version. You'll be sharing the links in Zoom webinar chat as well. Frequently asked questions. Will I get access to recordings? Yes, video and audio recordings of the classes will be updated within 48 hours of the class. You can log in your dashboard and check in the course content. How do I access these recordings? So, in your dashboard, under Continue Learning, you can click on your enrolled course. So, under the modules, once the class is updated, you can able to see the course content. Is there a WhatsApp group for the course? Yes, we do have a WhatsApp group. We'll be sharing the link in webinar chat as well. I'll give you a few minutes to scan the QR code here. This group is meant purely to facilitate discussion and help learners in getting the best out of this course. Kindly don't forward any unrelated post. Here is the pre-course questionnaire. You can scan this QR code and also the link will be provided in the chat. Please take few minutes to fill this form so that you can know your experience of learning this course. Here are the webinar guidelines. You can join from PC or Android or iOS devices. All participants will be on the default mute as it is the Zoom webinar. You can click on raise hand or put your questions in Q&A. Once teacher is ready to take up the questions, they will answer your questions. And if you are given a chance to speak to the teacher, you can unmute yourself once your turn gets over. And please do wear headphones for better audio clarity. For any questions or doubts, email Sanskrit from home at vyomalabs.in or call our customer seva at 9480865623. One important note, please close all the other apps and tabs before joining the class so that any audio lags will be avoided. Thank you. And I would also like to welcome our panelists. Thank you all. Over to the teacher.
Digviraj says his video has been turned off by you. So could you please check? I don't know what that means.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Viraj Mahathir, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
नमः परस्मै पुरुषाय भूयसे सदोद्भवस्थाननिरोधलीलया गृहीत शक्ति त्रितयाय देहिनाम् अनन्तर्भवायानुपलक्ष्य वर्त्मने अन्तर्भवायानुपलक्ष्य वर्त्मने ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मुक्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you everybody for joining this um, webinar. Actually, um, during this month of Purushottam Mass, uh, for me it's to have this webinar, an opportunity to um, talk about some things from Shrimad Bhagavatam is an opportunity for sadhana for me. So for that, I am truly grateful to Vyoma for organizing this and for all of you for joining. The Vimarsha on the Bhagavatam um, will start properly next Thursday. But today we have Sunday, which is also one of the days for the course. So I thought I would use today to give you a introduction to the Adhikamasa, which is the Kala Nimitta for this particular program. So with that in mind, I want to start telling you a little bit about Adhikamasa. But Adhikamasa, some people say that Adhik means extra. So some extra month has come in the calendar. So it's not a mysterious extra month that comes in the calendar. Actually, most of the calendar of our Indian system is based on astronomy and based on the passage of time. So astronomically, the passage of time is measured by really two celestial bodies that appear to revolve around the Earth. And what the ancient rishis saw was they said these are the sun and the moon, and the sun, which is called the Kalatma, it takes a certain period of time to go all the way around the Earth. So it appears. So they call that 1 year. And while the sun goes around the Earth, the moon goes around the Earth, appears to go around by changing its phases every 29 days or so. It happens to go around. So if you take a day as being from, say, sunrise to sunrise, then approximately they notice that it takes about 365 days for the sun to come around. And in that period, the moon goes around not an exact number of times, it goes around 12.3 times. So they said, okay, so the moon is going around 12.3 times and the sun is going around once. We do know that if you take a full circle, it has got 360 degrees. And so if you want to divide it into equal portions, and that is approximately 12 times, we can't use 13 because 360 doesn't get divided by 13. So we'll divide 360 by 12 and make it into 30-degree pieces. And we'll divide the whole outside if you imagine the earth in the center and a circle around it, you'll divide it into 12 segments. And of course, this same number 12 was arrived at in the Western world as well. They call it months. We call it rashis. And if you happen to be from south of India, the months are named according to the Rashis. Whichever the segment, each of these segment is given a name based on a constellation of stars. And when the sun goes into a new segment, that is called Sankramana. Sankramana means transition, going from one Rashi to the other. But notice that this takes about 30 days or so to do. Meanwhile, the moon is going around just a little faster. So it sometimes happens that after the sun has done one Sankramana, and there's still 30 days left for it to do the next Sankramana, quickly the moon has managed to go around once before the next Sankramana happens. That happens very rarely. Normally, the moon straddles the Sankramana of the sun. So every lunar month, you will find one Sankramana. But sometimes you'll find a lunar month stuck between two Sankramanas. And in that lunar month, there is no Sankramana. That happens approximately once every 30 months or so. It's not made up by anybody or anything. It's not like the English leap year where someone decided if a year is divisible by 4, we'll add one day to February. Someone made that up. This was not made up. This is dictated by the sun and the moon. So now that is in that portion where the sun doesn't transit. That month, the sun's transit is considered a purifying aspect for a certain month. So if that 1 month in which the sun doesn't transit, that is considered an impure month. Okay? And that impure month is called Adhikamasa. In fact, it's called impure, so it's called Malmas as well. Now, the story goes that the Malmas was very upset that it was called Adhikamasa, and Adhikamasa is like extra, it's like and started going around and whining in front of all the gods, Brahma, Vishnu, saying, do something about this. They call me extra, they call me a dirty month. What did I do to deserve this title? Why do they call me this? So when they said that, she went to Vishnu and said that, and Vishnu said, look, I really can't do anything about this. I don't decide these things. So I don't know why you're called Malmas. But you do one thing, the right person to go to for this is Krishna. So go to Goloka to Krishna. I'll recommend you over there. You'll get an audience with him, and you talk to Krishna about this. So she goes crying to Krishna and says, look at the situation. So Krishna is in Goloka, surrounded by the gopis, etc., and very sympathetic. He says, why are you crying so much? Don't cry. It's not, I don't know why they called you Malmas and all. There are lots of good things about you. What is your problem? She said, no, I don't have a name. Everybody has other names. Chaitra Masa, Shravana Masa. I have no name. He said, is that the problem? You don't have a name? Don't worry. You take my name. So he says, you don't worry, you take my name. They call me Purushottama. We will call you Purushottama Mas from now on. And moreover, all the gunas, all the characteristics I have, I'll give you to them. I'll give them to you. So you will get all the characteristics of me. And so from now on, you will be called Purushottam Mas. And this Mas will be considered very auspicious, not for Laukika work, not for any weddings, not for any starting a new business or anything like that, but for spiritual depth, it will be considered a very, very special month. And everybody can do their Aradhana in this month, it will be considered special. So Purushottama Mas was very happy. And hence this is called, no, we no longer call it Adhik Mas, we call it Purushottam Mas. Now, what is so great about Purushottam Mas, if you were to ask? You have to normally the features of these various months like Kartik Mas, Magha Mas, Shravana Mas, etc. They all come up in a Purana called the Padma Purana, which is a very extensive Purana. Okay. Padma Purana, by the way, has got a Mahatmyam for every individual chapter of Bhagavad Gita, apart from the Mahatmyam of the Bhagavad Gita itself. So when Padma Purana talks about the Purushottam Mas, it starts with the story of Draupadi. And Draupadi and the Pandavas are in the forest, bemoaning their bad luck to be in the situation of being stuck in Vanvas. And Vivek, you have to change your background. You put it off and your video off and you check what you have to do. So it when they were there, they asked Krishna, why are we suffering so much? What happened? We didn't do anything wrong. Krishna said, well, you didn't do anything wrong, but just a few months ago, there was Purushottam Mas and you didn't pay any attention to Purushottam Mas. And that's not a good thing, but that's not why you're suffering. You're suffering, and then his eyes turned to Draupadi because of her. Acha, Draupadi said, what did I do? He said, you won't remember. It was your previous birth. You were the daughter of Medhavi Rishi. And when you were still very young, your father passed away without getting you married, and you were very distraught that because you were actually full of all kinds of gunas and very beautiful looking, and all your friends were getting married and you didn't get married. So you were very, very upset. And you were crying to everybody and anybody. And meanwhile, in that time, um, Durvasa Rishi came to visit you. And when Durvasa Rishi came to visit you, you asked him, what should I do in order to get married? And Durvasa Rishi immediately gave you a solution. He said, Draupadi, that time her name was not Draupadi, he told you, he said, you undertake the vrata of Purushottam Mas, which is coming in a few months, and you will get married. And at that point, that girl, who was so well trained by her father, Medhavi Rishi, she got upset. So she got upset with Durvasa. She said, what is this you're talking about Purushottam Mas? We call it Malmas. We don't call it anything great. And why are you extolling Purushottam Mas? I understand if you tell me about Magha Mas or Vaishakha Masa or Shravana Masa or something like that. What is this Purushottam Mas you're comparing with those great months? And Durvasa got so angry because you said that about Purushottam Mas. But Durvasa was a very good friend of your father, Medhavi Rishi. He knew Medhavi Rishi had passed away and he knew you were already in trouble. So he didn't curse you, but he got very, very angry and he left your ashram at that time. And you were still so upset that you instead decided to do a great penance to invoke the presence of Shiva to get you married. And you did very good penance and Shiva appeared in front of you, but already you were under the anger of Durvasa Rishi. So when Shiva came in front of you and asked you what you wanted, you were so eager to have a husband, you couldn't contain yourself. And so when Shiva asked you what you wanted, you said, I want a husband, I want a husband. 5 times you said, I want a husband. And then Shiva said, okay, you get 5 husbands. And immediately you got very, very upset. You're saying, what is this? What will society think if I have 5 husbands? Please take back your vara. He said, no, I can't take back my vara, especially with you. You've already incurred a lot of problem because you have insulted Purushottam Mas. At best, I can postpone this vara to your next lifetime. And then he withdrew and you were so upset, you are not married, you are ready to give up your body. And it so happened just at that time, Drupada was conducting a havan to invoke a son and a daughter. And at that time, you passed away and you were reborn as Drupada's daughter, which you are now Draupadi. But that Durvasa's anger, although it wasn't a curse, is still with you, and you haven't observed Purushottam Mas. That is still with you, and that is why you're having all these problems. So the Pandavas were very upset and they said, what is this? We don't know about this Purushottam Mas. What are the benefits that accrue? What is the greatness of Purushottam Mas? So Bhagavan said, let me tell you about the greatness of Purushottam Mas. And for that, I have to tell you a story. This story was actually related to them. They said, in the old days, there was a great king, a great Kshatriya king, whose name was Da-Dhanwa. It's a very great king, and he was a storehouse of all the best qualities of kings. His subjects were happy, his family was happy, he took care of people, he was not arrogant, he was sampanna, full of riches, and his kingdom was very prosperous. Um, there was nothing wrong at all with the way he was conducting the kingdom, and uh, he was living a blessed life. But he was a very intelligent man. And as he grew a little bit into middle age, he kept wondering, what is it that I have done that gives me the privilege of having this life? I see so many people are poor, so many people have mental problems, so many people have financial problems. I have nothing. I have the great kingdom. I have a lovely wife. I have 4 sons and a daughter. I enjoy the best of all comforts. What did I do to deserve all this? And that used to always bother him at the back of his mind. So one day he went hunting into the forest and he got lost and separated from the rest of his troop. And he was deep in the forest, so he was very tired. He sat down under a tree. There was a river. He drank some water and sat down to rest. There was a cool breeze blowing. And it was his own kingdom. He was very much at home. And he was about to doze off under the tree when suddenly he noticed on top of the tree there was a parrot. Parrot, Sanskrit, is called shuka. There was a parrot on top of the tree. And the parrot um was saying one particular shloka. And it was the shloka meant in English. He said, oh, you are so steeped in the earthly pleasures of your life that you have no chance to look beyond them. However, will you cross over this samsara? Again and again, the parrot was saying, you are so tied up and so obsessed with the pleasure of this life. How will you cross samsara? And again, as the parrot said it, that line got embedded deeper and deeper in his head. And now he got obsessed with it. And now he couldn't sleep. He went into some kind of a depression, so to speak, because he couldn't think about why the parrot had said that to him and who had sent that parrot and what that parrot was. He couldn't make out and he was thinking hard about it. In the meanwhile, Valmiki Rishi visited his court. He welcomed Valmiki Rishi, and Valmiki Rishi nicely gave him Pada Prakshalan, Hasta Prakshalan, Arghya, gave him food, sat down. Then Valmiki Rishi was well rested, ready to talk to him, and he asked him, O king, how can I help you? And he said, look, I do have one thing on my mind. He said, what's the thing? He said, you see, this such and such a thing happened. I went into the forest, and there was this parrot that said this. What did it mean? Why was it saying it? Was it saying it to me, or was it just saying something? Valmiki said, no, it was saying it to you. He said, Arey, then I should know all the more. What did it mean? He said, see, I will tell you, but for that I have to tell you about your previous life. Are you ready to hear it? So he said, yeah, I'm ready to hear it. So this king was somewhere in North India, So he said, see, last life, you are a South Indian. Acha. So I don't know who all are South Indians on this call, but I don't know, therefore, whether Da-Dhanwa felt happy or sad. But he said, last life, you are a South Indian. And more than South Indian, you are a king, but then you are a South Indian Brahmin. Okay. Your name was Sadeva in that life. And your wife was the daughter of Gautam Rishi. Your wife was Gautami. Okay. You didn't have this much money, but you were very happy. You and your wife were living happily as Brahmins there. Everything was good in your life, except there was one problem. And that one problem was you did not have a son or a daughter. And your wife was a little bit bothered by this, but you were very bothered by it. And it got so bad and so obsessed you were by it that you were ready to give up your life because you had no children. And so one day you told your wife, look, this is no life at all without children. I think not worth living. And your wife was a very intelligent lady. After all, she is the daughter of Gautam Rishi. He said, see, like this to talk doesn't behoove you as a good Brahmin. You are a learned man. You know that if you want something, you have to do some work for it. So do something about it. Don't just say, oh, life is not worth living. Do something. Do some prayer. Do some anushtana. So he also agreed. He said, yes, you're right. I'm lucky I have a wife who can give good counsel. So he did a very big anushtana for Vishnu. And having done the anushtana, Bhagavan appeared in front of him. And he asked him, what do you want? So he said, Bhagavan, what is there hidden from you? You know everything. What I want means I want to have a son. So Bhagavan looked at him with a little bit of a sad face and said, see, I have seen you are where you are in creation, I know, and I have seen what is in your future. Next 7 births, you will not have a son. Your son is not written for you at all. So sorry, but I cannot give you a son. Now, the man was so upset, itna kiya, he did such a big anushtana for Vishnu, and Vishnu comes in front of him, asks him what he wants, and then he says he wants a son, and then he says, I can't give that. So he is so upset, he is crying, and then this wife also was so upset because she is the one who suggested all this to him, and now poor fellow is going to be let down by this Vishnu Bhagavan. So she is also crying. Now Vishnu looks at them, but the person who's more moved by these tears is Garuda. So Garuda shakes his neck and sees these people and looks up at Vishnu and says, what happened to you? You can give anybody anything, anybody you want. What happened? They say you're full of daya and kripa, and all these people are crying. They want a son. He's done an anushthan. You are saying you can't give. Stop it. Give him a son. So when Garuda said that, Vishnu said, yes, yes, you are right. Let me give a son. So he gave the son to them. So they were so happy. They had a son, Bap Re Bap, full whatever money they have, they gave, distributed, gave Dana, and then, Gautami and Sudev, very, very good care they took of the boy, brought him up, etc. And he became 10 years old and he was playing around, very intelligent boy. And one day another famous Rishi called Deval Rishi came to their ashram. So they received Deval Rishi, he sat down, sab kuch kiya. Then Deval Rishi looked at the son and son's name was Shukadeva. They kept the name Shukadeva. Son, he said, your son is very intelligent, very prabhavshali, full of great gunas. There's only one problem. The problem kya hai? He said, when he is 12 years old, he will die. And you can't do anything about it. This is written in his bhagya. He has to die when he's 12 years old. Now you are still about 9, 10 years old. So the parents said, chalo 12 years aata hai, tab dekhte hain. They were still playing, enjoying, etc. When he's 12 years old, this boy was playing with his friends near the river. He drowned in the river and he passed away. So his friends took out the body from the river, kept it on this bank of the river, and they called Gautami and Sadeva. Now, Gautami came, she was upset, but Sadeva is the guy who's like over emotional, extremely reactive. Baap, pray. You should see, Sadeva could not control himself. He could not believe that this son given by Vishnu Bhagavan can die when he's 12 years old. So he put that son on his lap and he started talking to him like he was alive. Come on, Shukdev, get up. Your friends are calling you. Time for homework, etc. Like this, he started talking to him. Come on, you have to eat your food. Bring the food for him. Like this, he went mad. He started talking to Shukdev like as if he is going to become alive again any moment. Now this Gautami tried to comfort him, but he is not listening. He continues to do this, and then suddenly what happens? A huge storm breaks out and it starts raining non-stop. And this man, what's his name? Sadeva is sitting there and got this boy on his lap, and he's talking to him and trying to wake him up. He's a dead boy. A whole month passes, it is storm, it is raining. This guy is not, what's his name? Sadeva is not eating, not sleeping, he's just talking to this boy. Once the month is over, the storm clears up, and suddenly, lo and behold, Vishnu Bhagavan appears in front of Sadeva again. So Sadeva, looking to him through all his tears, he's saying, I didn't call you, now you've come. He said, see, you don't have to call me. This last month has been the Purushottam month. And you have unknowingly done the vrata for the Purushottam month. You have not eaten, you have not slept for the entire month. And so I was obliged to come to you because you have done such an intense vrata, not even having a drop of water for 1 month, not expected from you. So now I have come. Now, what do you want? Again, he asks. He said, see, don't ask what I want. Huh? When the last time I asked, you didn't give, a lot of chaos happened. Huh? So he said, no, I know what you want. You want that boy to be alive. Nah? He said, yeah, naturally, I want my son to be alive. He said, okay, I will revive your son. And since he died when he was 12 years old, I will grant him 12,000 years of good life. And he will live for 12,000 years and be an excellent son to you. Baap re baap. What a boon he got. He was so happy, but he was also very suspicious. He said, see, you told me last time I asked you for a son. I didn't ask for a son who would be 12,000 years old. I just asked you for a son. You said no. Then you gave me a son. And that fellow died when he's 12 years old. Now I haven't even called you. You come here and you tell me my son will live for 12,000 years. What has changed so much? You said last time in my Bhagya there is no son. Vishnu says, no, I didn't tell you anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. I didn't tell you anything wrong, neither did you do. But the thing is, this Purushottam Mas Vrata, it is so great that anything is null and void if you do Purushottam Vrata. So he said, if you take all the great, so then later on, Valmiki explained to to Sadev, he said, even if you take all the vratas that are in the Vedas, all put together on one side, and on the other side you put Purushottam Mas Vrata, then Purushottam Mas Vrata is greater than all of them. It is such a great vrata. So you have done that great vrata. So now we are back to Valmiki telling the story to Da-Dhanwa, and he said, you know, that boy who was Shukadeva has now come as a Shuk parrot to you in this life to remind you that don't get caught up in your life of a king. Think about the truth, and that's the only way in which you will be able to cross across samsara. He's here to remind you of that. That is what that Shuka is. That's what Valmiki told Dridhanva. So Da-Dhanwa was very pleased to hear about the Mahima of Purushottam Masa. And there are these things we are going to, there are, three things, um, two things that are coming together right now. One is the Purushottam Masa and the Vrata for Purushottam Masa. Purushottam Masa started today. Today was the first day. The uh, uh, Jyeshta, Adhika Jyeshta Shukla Pratipada, today. It is the Adhika Jyeshta Masa, Shukla Paksha, first day is today. And so the beginning of Purushottam Masa, which has been extolled in the Padma Purana as being greater than any vrata, keeping the vrata for this. And then there is the Bhagavatam, the Shrimad Bhagavatam. And the Shrimad Bhagavatam, we'll come to that eventually, has been told as the Shrimad Bhagavatam is a Shastra that outweighs any of the other Shastras that has been told in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Vyasacharya himself, by Shukadeva himself, not this Shukadeva, but this Shuka, who is son of Vyasacharya. So, if we are to combine the two, and we have to do Srimad Bhagavata Upasana during the Purushottam Masa, then that is, adding fuel to fire for Upasana. So it's it is a really fortunate thing for us to be able to do both of them together. And as far as the vrata for Purushottam Masa, there are lots of details of the vrata that are described in the Padma Purana. But the vrata, in the end, the most important thing about the vrata is the focus on the Vishnu Tattva, Purushottama Tattva, and the Aradhana of Purushottama Vishnu Bhagavan. That is the centerpiece of the Purushottam Masa. So that Aradhana can be done in many ways. One is by the study and the reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Other is by the study or the reading of the Purushottama Yoga of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So many recommend the Patha of the 15th chapter daily during the Purushottama Masa. Other one that many others recommend also is the Patha of Vishnu Sahasranama daily during the Purushottama Masa. And of course, the Vishnu Puja, if you have a Shaligrama or a picture of Vishnu, to do the Vishnu Puja every day during the Adhikamasa. So, to be sure that the Kaika through the hands, then through the mind, doing the dhyana of Bhagavan Narayana, through the ears, doing the Shravana of Bhagavata or any other Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, and then through the mouth, doing the Kirtana, which not only means bhajans, but also speaking and discussing about Bhagavatam and about Lord Vishnu's Mahima. So to be engaged with the Lord through the mouth, through the ears, through the hands, and through the mind with dhyana. All of them together is the most important part of the vrata. Of course, then there are the more sthula aspects of the vrata, which one can also follow. Bhuma Shayya, sleeping on the ground, or bhojana niyama, that means either being nakta bhoji, eating only at night, or eka bhoji, eating only one time a day, or having fruits and milk and eating once a day. All those things. And we are not too we are not asked to be too strict about any of those things, because if any of them deter you from having Vishnu Bhakti, then it's no point. If you are doing so much that you are unable to concentrate, then there's no point. So you must do what you can. And at the same time, if you are just avoiding rice but eating so much of other things that are all allowed and mostly full, then that also is a problem. So there has to be an element of tapasya, which means whatever you're doing should be somewhat difficult for you to do. It shouldn't be paralyzing, but it should be somewhat difficult. So suppose daily you happen to eat 20 rotis, then if you eat 4, it is considered vrata, because you are eating only 1/5 of what you are eating. But if you're not eating 20 rotis, then from wherever you are, you can decrease it over there. So the vrata is there, but most importantly is the bhava. And when you're approaching the Purushottama Tattva, there are, of course, a variety of ways. For instance, we could have taken this 1 month and merely focused on Purushottama Yoga, 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That would be a much more jnana pradhana kind of conversation, which we can, of course, do at some time. But what we are going to do is we are going to taste a flavor of the Shrimad Bhagavatam instead. And the Shrimad Bhagavatam is very much um, a grantha of Krishna Bhakti, of course, but it is such a deep ocean that Krishna Bhakti is no different from any jnana that happens in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But it's on the one hand, it is very hard to begin to taste that jnana in the Bhagavatam. On the other hand, it is very easy to taste the sweetness of the Bhagavatam and to get addicted to it. And then the Bhagavatam will take care itself of taking you down the path of jnana. So you don't have to worry too much. It is with a lot of ease that the Bhagavatam takes you towards Lord. It is not if the Lord loves me, then he should show me an easy path to come to him. Now, why should everything be difficult? So Bhagavatam is there. That's an easy path. It's a little bit, it is sweet, both in the outcome as well as in the path. So the Bhagavatam is like that. So we'll be tasting a little bit of the Bhagavatam. And, just like we mentioned, in the Purushottama Masa Vrata is overcoming any other vrata, and that the Srimad Bhagavatam is overcoming any other Shastra. Like that, we are told that the name of the Lord overcomes anything else, including the Lord himself. A very surprising thing. So one time, his wife got into some argument with him and said, "Look, I am just going to, you are after all my husband. I am going to give you away to Narada." And she took the sankalpa in the hand and she said, I give you to Narada. So Bhagavan became given to Narada. So Narada said, "Now you are my property." So that having happened, they said, "Now you will go everywhere with Narada. Now what will happen here? You will not be here." So everybody panicking, saying, "How can we keep you back? Kuch to karna padega." So Narada said, "Fine, you do tulabara. You have a tulabara. You put the scales. On one side, I will keep Krishna. Other side, you put anything you want. Once you manage to match Krishna, then I'll take the other side and you take Krishna back." So he said, "Fine." Krishna said, "Fine." Krishna sat down, putting all kinds of things. That thing is not budging at all. So now what to do? So she said, don't worry. I have a solution to this. Let's do this." He says, "Bring one tulsi leaf." He says, bought one tulsi leaf. He said, "Write Shri Krishna in the Tulsi leaf, he wrote. So now you place that Tulsi leaf on that Tulabhara. He placed that and it outweighed Bhagavan himself. So the Naam Krishna is greater than the man Krishna. So that is such a Mahima of Bhagavan Nama comes across throughout the Bhagavatam. So we have the Bhagavan Nama, which is greater than Bhagavan himself. We have the Purushottam Mas that is greater than any Vrata. And we have the Shrimad Bhagavatam that is greater than any Shastra. We are taking all three together and we are bringing them together for this period that way we are starting next Thursday. So we will, I have a plan that it's been announced, but we might change that plan. That is the plan. That is the plan as for now. For the first week, at least the plan is sure. I'll tell you about the greatness of the Srimad Bhagavatam as told in the Bhagavatam itself. I'll give you a little background about what the Bhagavatam is, was told by whom, in under what circumstances, etc. And then I will start by telling you a story of Ajamila that tells you the importance of Bhagavan Nama. We'll try to do that in this coming week on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Following week, I'd like to talk about Dhruva and Prahalada, but if I start with Prahalada, it might last so long that it will take up the entire rest of the month. So I don't know what we'll do. We'll try to start with Prahalada and see how it goes. I didn't write this in the course introduction, but I might substitute instead of Dhruva, I might tell you about Sudama instead. It's also a wonderful story from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll tell a few stories and try to get a little bit insight into Bhagavan so that we can enjoy his Sannidhi during the Purushottam Masa while looking at the Grantha itself, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. I will have the shlokas from the Srimad Bhagavatam displayed like I had the shloka at the beginning of the class. I will not have the Anvaya and the word meanings of these shlokas because it is not going to be Sanskritam Pradhanam. The Vyoma has got three things in its uddeshyas or goals, which is Sanskritam, Sanskriti, and Samskara. So these are all there. So Sanskritam, of course, we will be looking at the Srimad Bhagavatam and trying to understand its words. But we will also be deeply connecting to Bharatiya Samskriti through the Bhagavatam. And then we will be getting lessons from the Bhagavatam that teach us about Acharana and Sadhana. And those learnings will be the sanskaras that we will pick up from this session. So session will have equal amounts of Sanskritam, Sanskriti, and sanskaras, and we will try to do the samanvaya of that and do 4 weeks of Srimad Bhagavatam. So with that, we will stop this session. I think last time I did this, there was some time for questions at the end. Now I don't know. Somebody says, I'm looking at the questions. One person says, kindly give Acharya some prompt to look straight on the screen. He is looking to one side. I'm very sorry. I will look straight in the screen. And then the other person says, we have done Dhruva Prahalada Stutis, so please keep the same. Sudama maybe later. That person suggests. I will take a suggestion on board, but we have to also see what inspiration strikes at that point. So please leave some room for that. Sudama is not a minor story. I'm sure we'll try to get all those things done. Any other questions? You please type in. Otherwise, we will hope. Other one says, hope the course lecturer is not Distracted, he is turning away frequently since the start. I'm certainly not distracted. I am doing nothing but doing this, but maybe I have a habit of turning this side and that. I will try to keep my eyes on you. Um, and that other person says, I cannot understand the Hindi phrases in between. I'm sorry, that is, I will try to stop the Hindi. That is just a natural way of speaking. I'll try to control that. Okay. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? None. Okay. Thank you very much. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.